Hey guys, it's Natalie with Treasures and Mini, and I am doing one more quick strange video. I did get a request to show you guys how I make this galaxy background with Brusho on photo paper. So that's what I'm going to do right now. You can see that I have chosen some Brusho colors here, and I also have black as well, and I have a piece of photo paper. So I'm going to show you real quick. I poke a hole in the top of my Brusho and then put a push pin in the top of it, and that's how I use mine. I'm going to cover my piece of photo paper here with a light mist of water, and then I'm going to start scattering my color around. This first layer of water that I did, I mainly only do that so that when I drop these little crystals, they don't bounce all over the place. The water kind of helps hold them there. And I am just randomly scattering these colors all over. I'm not worried too much about making mud because we do need it to be dark in some areas. So once I get it all laid down, except for the black, I spray it again with water. And this time I'm going to give it a pretty good spray. I'm going to come back in with a wet brush, and I'm just going to dab the water and the colors to start moving around. But when it starts looking kind of muddy, you can see me wipe it off on my towel over there, and I even rinse it in some water and then come back. Because I do want to keep some of the true color there. I decided to add a little bit more water and come back in and add a few more spots of some of the different colors. Just to get it good and covered and where there's no white left. Again, I've not used the black yet. I'm only using the colors. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just spreading it around. And then I'm going to add one more thing of water, get it nice and wet, move it around just a little bit more, not too much, just in some places that I think it needs it. Wiping my brush off in between. And then I'm using a towel, but I normally use a paper towel. I'm going to lay it over it and soak up any excess water. And this is what you have. Now for the black part, it's all dry, so now I'm going to sprinkle some of the black Brusho down. I'm going to spray it with water, and I decided I didn't have enough. I put a smaller hole in my black Brusho because it's so strong. I didn't want it to come out a lot. So it may look like I'm doing a lot, but it barely comes out. And then I spray it with water again. And now with a brush, I'm loosely making circular movements because clouds and things like that aren't square. They're not triangled. They're rounded circular edges. So that's why I do that. And with a paper towel, I'm going to come back in and blot up some of the puddles. It also makes some areas darker and some lighter. And if I have any spots like that one that kind of looked like a square, I go back and kind of move around the Brusho a little bit more. And then I'm going to lay my towel over it again, pick it up, and here's what we have. Now there might be some Brusho crystals left on there, so with a wet baby wipe, I like to rub the whole thing down in a circular motion. Now right here, I am using some very watered down acrylic, a white paint. I usually use gouache or even white pigment ink, and I use it to flick on some stars. But sometimes I like to go back in with some silver and gold pigment ink, really watered down, and also flick those in as well. It gives it more dimension with the little stars, I think. So here's what you have. Now, if you'll notice with all the water, my edges did kind of start to bubble up. So I always recommend cutting this larger than what you need it for, so you can kind of cut off those little bubbly, watered down edges. And that is how easy it is to do a night sky galaxy on photo paper with Brusho. It is so, so simple. So the video was so short, I did have a couple of requests on how I store all of my cards. So I thought that I would show you that. So first I go through and I pick out a matching envelope to match them all. I keep lots of envelopes on hand of different colors. And once I have them matched up with their envelopes, then I come back with these crystal sleeves. I get these at my local store here in Hawaii, but you can order these on Amazon and any other kind of packaging place sells these. These are meant for an A2 size card. I store them in these sleeves. So I just put my card with its matching envelope in these little sleeves. And I go ahead and peel off the back because you can reposition it. You can open this and close this several times. You don't have to do that. You can use a small piece of washi tape. So if you ever wanted to use it for something else, I guess you still could. But I go through and I do this with all of my cards. Usually I do not fill out the insides so that I can make it more personalized for when I decide who I'm going to send it to. So once I have them all done, I usually do several at a time. I kind of separate them to where if they're any occasion, a birthday, a sympathy, kid's birthday, adult birthday, I kind of separate them out into different categories like that. And then I store them. I'm going to show you a picture of them stored, but this one's a mess right now. I had already unpacked it for moving and threw a bunch of cards back in here real quick to show you for the video. This normally has dividers in it as well that'll say birthday, love, sympathy, any occasion, that kind of thing. And I usually have about 2 of these going at a time. So that is how I store my cards. Also, I would like to start sending my cards to any of my subscribers. So if you happen to see me make a card that you think is perfect for an occasion that you have coming up, just let me know. Private message me on my Facebook at Treasures of Mini Craft Corner, and I will send those to you. Like, I have a lady that told me that her grandson would love these little pirate cards, so I'm actually going to send her 2 of the pirate cards. So while I was doing this, I also got thinking that there's another really cool thing that I use in my craft room that I think could really help you guys out. And since I'm not going to be doing a video for a few weeks while we move, I thought I'd go ahead and share this. So a while back, I made a color swatch book. I found this small 3-ring binder at our NEX, which is a military store, but I'm positive you could find them at Walmart. And I made some dividers. In the dividers, you can see I have this first one is for watercolor mediums. And I went through here, and with my ruler, I figured out how many squares I could have and all that. And I made all these individual squares. I write down what brand it is, and then I swatch it out and the name. So this is all my Daniel Smith watercolors. Then I have my Koi watercolors, and I have my Gonzai Tombi watercolors, and this is another one that I have. These are my Peerless. With my Tombow markers, I just did this I was bored, wanted to do something different, so I did this, and I left room to add more with them. And with my Zig Real Clean Color, I did the same thing, but you'll see some of them are blank. I went on their website and I actually put them on here in order that they come from like color families. And then the ones that I don't have, I left blank. So I knew when I decided that I wanted to shop, I would know what I needed. But I don't always have that book with me when I shop. So I also printed off of Pinterest this little one right here, and I filled it out, and I carry this one in my purse. So if I'm ever out somewhere and I see them on sale and I want to pick some up, I kind of know, what I need. This is my colored pencils. This is my Prisma watercolor pencils, and I have the big set. I think it's like 72 or 73, and I keep it in that tin. But that tin, they come in three little plastic dividers. And you can see I have the numbers by them. I put a number on each one of those little things that they set in for the number of the pencil. So if I want pencil 15 or 35, I know that it's going to be on the second little lift out divider in the thing, and I don't have to like work through all 3 of them trying to find a certain color. I don't think that made any sense. Maybe I can show you guys a picture sometime. So the other biggest one that helps me a lot is this section, which is my ink pads. And these are my distress inks. And I want to show you how I keep these organized. So if you notice on here, there are these letters in the top and there's numbers and they're circled. So this right here is some of the originals that I got, and it doesn't have anything on it. And that's because it is the normal large size ink pad. And then they came out with the minis, and I started buying the minis. And I needed a way to organize them. So I've come up with these containers. And if you'll notice, this container has a 1 on it. I have 4 of these containers, and they're all numbered. But inside them, I put the name of the ink pad, then the mini ink and its blending tool, and it sets right in there. So if I was looking through my swatch and I wanted the tumbled glass, I could see that it has an M, which tells me that it's in the minis. It's going to be in one of those boxes. And then it has a number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that is going to tell me which box it's in. Now, if it has a B by it, that means that I have both the large and the mini. Now I've gone through and done some of my other inks as well. I don't have a lot of those Rangers, so I keep them all in the same spot, so it's not hard. These are my Hero Arts ombre ones. And then I have my Hero Arts inks on here too, and I've got you'll see these numbers, I've got SI and MT on here. And if you look at your Hero Arts pad, like we'll take the butter bar here, on the butter bar it says mid-tone, but then right here it says shadow ink mid-tone. So it says shadow ink mid-tone butter bar. I know that that's what that is if I'm looking for it. And like right here, it's just a shadow ink. It's not the mid-tone. So that kind of helps me. Down here on the bottom, you'll see the M's again. Those M's stand for minis. And I have this other little container that I just happen to have on hand, and they fit in it. So I always take my little square punch and I put the color on it, and then I use a glue dot to put it on the bottom of the ink pad so that I can store the little minis upside down. But if I see that it's got an M on it, I know where I can find it in my craft room. Here's my mementos, my Brilliance pigment inks, my StazOn. I didn't save any room for the StazOn because I don't plan on ever getting any more. This whole section right up here is all in one big ink pad. These right here are 4 little minis, and in each mini there's 4 colors. And this one is also one of those kaleidoscope spectrums, so it's all in one. And then I have my Stampin' Up! Inks, and I have these done by Subtles, Bolds, Regals. That's what these letters are for. And then here I have, if it's an in color, I have the year. So in color 2015 through 17. So then I know where they're at, and I know how to find them very quickly. I also did my distress crayons, and I have 1 and 2 on these for which collection they are. I did my colored pencils. On here, I colored it regular, and then I used some kind of blending solution on the other side so that I could see how well it blended. These are the Derwent blending colored pencils, so I did some blending so that I could see what it looks like. And this one is my acrylic paints. I did one for my Twinkling H2Os. This is also inks. You can see I've got different inks on here. If it's got this P, it's the pearlized Derwent. Then I've got some Viva Decor Precious Metals. I've got some Liquitex inks. I've got those on here. And then I did my stickles, but I did my stickles on black and white because they look very different depending on what kind of cardstock. So that's my little color swatch book. I still do need to add some other things to it, and I'm always adding to it, but it really helps me when I have a project and there's something that I want. I don't have to go digging through all of my inks and everything. I can go right to my book, right to the section of whatever kind of medium I'm looking for, find the color I want, and then be able to go right to it in my craft room. I really, really love this little swatch book. So now that really is it for videos. We are moving We've been living in Hawaii for 4.5 years now with the military, and it's been a rough 4.5 years. My husband and I both lost our father, and I've lost my mother. So while it has been fun living in Hawaii, we are very ready to get back to the mainland, and the military is sending us to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And we leave the island August 3rd, and they come pack up our household goods this Friday. All we can take with us is what we can take on the plane in our luggage. So I'm going to be packing mostly craft stuff, including my little table and my little arm for my camera that my husband made me, because I won't have any of our household goods or crafting stuff for about a month and a half to 2 months. And in that time, we'll be looking for a house and everything else. So we'll be getting on a plane and going to North Carolina with nothing waiting on the other end but a hotel room. So I'm going to be counting on crafting to save me a lot. And I do want to still try to do videos, but it may take me a little bit to get back into the swing of things. I wanted to show you these pictures real quick. This is where I keep my large pads of distress ink. So I know if it's the normal size pad, it's going to be on this shelf. This is where I keep my Stampin' Up! Inks and other inks, and I have those labeled. You can see on this one right here, it's got S's. That means it's all the subtle collection, so that's how I can know where to get it there. This is a little idea I came up with to keep all of my blending things on for all of my other inks. That's just a piece of cardboard that I drew out some lines on and wrote the name of the ink, and then with a piece of Velcro I just attach my little blending sponges to it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this and it gives you some ideas, and until next time, hugs and loves from my craft room to yours. Bye.